Changemakers is a movement created by the Manny Cantor Center, engaging New Yorkers to take action. I'm Eden Perlov with the America 101 Project. With my co-founder, Lily Nussbaum, we created the America 101 Project out of a desire to learn more about timely topics from the people who know them intimately and can share a unique perspective. We are here today with the author of All You Can Eat, How Hungry is America, former senior executive at the USDA under the Clinton administration, and CEO of Hunger Free America. I am pleased to be speaking with Joel Berg. Joel, thank you so much for being here with us today.
So I'm Joel Berg, CEO of Hunger Free America. I've been with the organization nearly 19 years. Until about 5 years ago, we were called the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, and we expanded nationwide because there really is a nationwide need for the kind of work we do. Before that, I served for 8 years in the Clinton administration and senior executive roles at the positions at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And before that, I worked for some think tanks and I worked on political campaigns for a living.
Amazing. Can you explain to us what exactly food scarcity is?
Well, food scarcity is a term that usually means lack of food for anyone. The term we more frequently use in America is food insecurity, when there's food available, but people just can't afford the food. There's a little food scarcity now, particularly on meat, but in general, food insecurity really applies to the Americans who just can't afford enough food. And in 2018, before the worst of this crisis, there were 37 million Americans, including 1 million New York City residents, who lived in food insecure households, unable to afford enough food.
You kind of started to touch on this a little bit. New York is a place that is full of so many different types of people, of so many different types of backgrounds. Can you explain a little bit about how particular groups may be affected differently?
Well, it's important to note that nationwide, the largest number of people who are hungry before this and now are whites. That's not what the national narrative is. Many people falsely believe the majority of people are non-white, but nationwide, the majority are white. Here in New York City, with a bunch of different demographics, the largest number of people who live in poverty, who suffer from food insecurity, are non-white. And so they're disproportionately people of color, African Americans, Latinos, and Asian Americans. People with disabilities are disproportionately likely to be impoverished. And then there are plenty of subgroups. Holocaust survivors, as horrible as to even contemplate, are disproportionately likely to be poor and impoverished, as if they haven't gone through enough. But it's also important to note that this is really a widespread phenomenon. In New York City, we're talking, before this crisis, 1 million people. The mayor has now said that he thinks the number is probably around 2 million people now, and I think that's probably an accurate number. The number of New York City residents who couldn't afford enough food in the last recession spiked at about 1.6 million people, and that's probably not nearly as bad as it is today, given the massive job losses, given the fact that school meals programs are closed, senior center meals programs are closed, and at the same time, as if all that wasn't bad enough, food prices are spiking. And so it's really a challenge on all fronts, and things have gone from worse to worser. I know worser isn't a word, but given our situation now, it really should be.
What are both the mental and physical public health implications of food insecurity?
People who are food insecure, or in plain English, struggling against hunger, have less good health outcomes. They're more likely to get sick. Their immune systems are more compromised. So some people are saying, oh, let's deal with the COVID crisis now, and then later we can deal with the poverty and hunger crisis. No, you can't do that, or you'll never solve the COVID crisis, because people who are malnourished are more likely to get COVID and catch it on, as well as other diseases. We almost tend to forget that all the other diseases didn't actually go away because of this. And then we also know that hungry children don't grow as well. They don't develop as well mentally or emotionally. They do less well in school. So my two Dr. Seuss lines about this are: to be schooled, you must be fueled. To be well-read, you must be well-fed. And that's a little glib, but there's a mountain of scientific evidence backing that up. Hungry workers, malnourished workers are less likely to get and keep employment. And then hungry senior citizens are less likely to stay independent. They're more likely to be forced to go to a nursing home where the food can be provided. Not only does that have tremendous really moral costs, that people are ripped away from their home they've lived in for so long, but also it has great economic costs. And so because of children aren't able to learn as well, workers aren't able to work as well, seniors aren't able to stay independent, hunger costs our society about $167 billion a year, and that's when the economy was good. And so even if you don't care about the moral dimensions of hunger that every religious tradition on the planet teaches us, we need to do something serious about hunger. The Old Testament, the New Testament, the Quran, every other serious religious tradition or ethical tradition teaches us to do something serious about hunger, and not just charity, but something systematic. But even if you're not moved by that, you should darn well be moved by the economic self-interest, that when there's so many people hungry in America, it makes the economy worse for all of us.
How has COVID affected food access?
So COVID's just taken a horrible situation and made it worse. Nationwide, on any given school day, about 29 million American kids rely on school meals. Those have gone away. Millions of other American kids who are below kindergarten relied on subsidized meals at the daycare centers, childcare centers. Those have gone away. Probably hundreds of thousands of meals or maybe millions of meals a day at senior centers have gone away. On top of that, you add the most rapid collapse of the American economy in US history. The unemployment rate still isn't quite as bad as it was during the Depression, but understand that unemployment didn't peak in the Depression until 1933. The stock market collapsed in 1929. So it took 4 years for unemployment to spike to the highest level in the Depression. We've had a multi-digit increase in unemployment just over the course of a few weeks. Then if that all wasn't bad enough, you throw on top a federal government that is basically opting by a variant of Murphy's Law, anything they can do wrong, they have done wrong. And they're basically making it harder for people to get food aid. Then on top of that, that food prices are spiking, that we have the worst hunger problem we've had in America in modern times. And unless government does things differently and better, it's only going to get worse.
And that, again, leads to my next question, which is what sort of government policies need to be created to ensure that every American is fed?
And that we need a national consensus, that we need a dramatic expansion of the food safety net, including SNAP, the food stamp program, including the Women's, Infants, and Children program that go to pregnant women and kids under 5. We need more funding for school districts to do these alternative food distributions, and particularly to significantly increase home food distributions, because if we're telling people to come to a city site, particularly a school, and we're telling everyone stay at home, don't congregate, it's sort of a mixed message to say come here and pick up the food. And so we need to do that as well as we need to make it easier to use electronic systems to apply for benefits. We're still stuck many decades in the past when it comes to applying for benefits. And so Senator Gillibrand of New York and Congressman Morelli of upstate New York have proposed a bill called the Hope Bill to make it easier for people to apply for a wide variety of things online. We need to do that. And we also need to make it easier for people to use their benefits online. Right now, the SNAP benefits can only be used online for one company in New York, and it's a large company, and we need to really expand this to smaller stores, bodegas, farmers markets, to allow them to accept SNAP benefits online and to hopefully provide them some support to be able to deliver them. That's a big wish list, and people say, whoa, Joel, you're asking for too much. Well, this isn't what I need, this is what hungry people need. And we changed all of U.S. foreign policy. We changed what millions of people do a day at an airport because a few thousand Americans lost their lives, and that was, catastrophic. But now over, I think, today, as of May 13th, I think something like 80,000 Americans have lost their lives, and there's still policymakers taking a position we don't have to change anything.
That makes complete sense. While we are at home, what sort of stuff can we do to help get involved or help support these initiatives?
Of course, after you make any generous donation you can to the Learning Alliance, Educational Alliance, please donate to Hunger Free America if you have money to do so at hungerfreeamerica.org. You can also go to hungervolunteer.org and find out how you can volunteer. We have plenty of social distancing volunteer opportunities you can do from home. We also hope you can contact your elected officials, your senators, your congresspeople, and say, pass a robust relief bill now that really focuses on low-income people, including their food needs. The last bill focused more on helping things like Ruth Chris Steakhouse chain, a luxury steakhouse chain, than low-income people. So donate, volunteer, and advocate are the most important things you can do. And I'd ask you to consider not just donating to groups that provide food, but also groups like Hunger Free America that dramatically increase food access by helping people get government food benefits, by pushing our elected officials to make the big changes we need. Charitable food distribution is a great thing, and it fills in the blanks a bit, but people need to understand just how meager it is. In New York and nationwide, for every dollar worth of food provided by every soup kitchen, food pantry, food bank, food rescue group in America or New York, the federal safety net food programs provide at least 11 times that. So even though the federal nutrition programs are underutilized, they're too hard to get, lots of people should be getting them, aren't getting them, even with that, they're still at least 11 times the dollar amount of every charity. And now in this crisis, the discrepancy is bigger than ever. So for instance, there's a new program that Nancy Pelosi and Democrats pushed to get enacted, and they got the Republicans to go along with, called the Pandemic EBT program. And what that says is every parent with kids in public schools who gets free and reduced price meals will get a card, and money will be put on the card to replace some of the money that they have to spend because they're no longer getting school meals. In New York State, that's going to help 2.1 million people get over $800 million worth of food. 2.1 million people get $800 million worth of food. So that honestly dwarfs all the incredible things that celebrity chefs are doing, that charities are doing, and forget even the ideology where many of us prefer the safety net doing this because it's more just, it's more equitable, there's a fair way of deciding who gets what, it's more universal, it's less people sort of have to begging for charitable food. Forget even the ideological or the ethical reasons why many of us think that a government safety net helping people is more just than charities helping people. If you don't agree with us on any of that, just look at the math. And I just talked to a big, nonprofit in New York City, and they distribute maybe, one of the largest in New York City. They give out over a year, $7 million worth of food funding, and that's over a year. Compare that to $880 million going out over a few weeks. If I was a big hungry person that could eat millions of dollars worth of food, I'd prefer $800 million to $7 million, and that's why we focus like a broken record on making sure that the government programs work and are meeting the needs.
Amazing. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was really, really interesting.
So much for focusing on this, and again, anyone who either needs help or wants to help can go to hungerfreeamerica.org, or you can also call the National Hunger Hotline at 1-866-3-HUNGRY. That's 1-866-3-HUNGRY, and we'll get you the help you need to the best of our ability. So thank you so much.